like I said, I have different sources for all the different pages here. And but we'll start off with Noladati La Shalom, which is by the same person, Uzi Chitman, right? And we just sang Adon Olam by him. And please join in when you can. It's pretty fun. Ani noladati el hamanginot ve'el hashirim shel kol hamedinot noladati lלשון וגם למקום למאה להמון שיושיט יד לשלום אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יגיע אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע אני רוצה להיות כבר בו אני נולדתי אל החלום ובו אני רואה שיבוא השלום נולדתי לרצון ולאמונה שהנה הוא יבוא אחרי 30 שנה אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יגיע אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע אני רוצה להיות כבר בו נולדתי לאומה ולשנים 2000 שורה לאדמה ולחלקת שמיים והיא רואה צופה כי הולך היום וזו שעה יפה זוהי שעת שלום אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יגיע אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע אני רוצה להיות כבר בו one more time אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יגיע אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע אני רוצה להיות כבר בו
Okay, very lovely song. Like so many of the Israeli songs, the theme is that of waiting for peace. I'm born for peace. I'm waiting for it to come. I was designed for peace. Just waiting for it after 2,000 years for a nation that has been reborn. Okay, pick another song. What's the next on your list?
So next I have is Yerushalayim Shel Zahav.
Okay, last week was Yom Yerushalayim, so it is very appropriate.
Yes, it is. And I'm only doing, I think, the first 2 verses because otherwise it's really long. So,
okay.
But it's so beautiful that... Mike, and by the way, I'm sorry if you hear my chair squeaking. That's my chair.
All right, there we go.
Squeaky Shavuot. אוויר הרים סלול קיין וריח אורנים נישא ברוח ארבעים עם כל פעמונים ובתרדמת אילן באבן שבויה בחלומה העיר אשר בדד יושבת ובליבה חומה ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור עלו לכל שירי אני כינור ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת Shalom, alo lecho shirai ani kino. Echo yavshu borot hamayim, kikar hashuk reika, vein pokeret har habayim, vayir ha'atika. ובמערות אשר בסלע, ויהי לילות רוחות, בין יורד אל ים המלח, נלך בדרך יריחו. ירושלים של זהב, ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לפה שירי אני כינו. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לפה שירי I didn't do the big ending since I didn't do the whole song.
Okay.
I decided just to edit so that I don't want to. Now, then we have, what's next on the list? Al Kol Eileh? Yeah,
what was
looks like Al Kol Eileh is next. Okay, I have it right here.
Okay. Is this one up
is
here?
The volume
Shir
okay?
Shalom. You have Shir Shalom if you want to do it, or Al Kol Eileh.
Yeah, you want me to do Shir Shalom next, or you want me to do Al Kol Eileh? Up to you.
Al Kol Eileh is very, very nice.
Okay, we'll do Al Kol Eileh.
Lyric to it. Lilt has this lilt.
Al hadvash ve'al haoketz, al hamar ve'hamarbo, al biteinu atinoket shmoreli hato, al ha'esh hamevoeret, al hamayim chazakim, al ha'ish hashav habayta mincha mervakim, al kol eileh. Al kol eileh, shmona li hatov, al hadvash ve'al haoketz, al hamar ve'hamatov, al nakol hakol natuha. Don't forget your hope. Hashiveni ve'ashluha el haaretz hatova. Shmoreli al ze'habayit, al hagan al hachoma, mi'agom mitachat ne'teoni milchama. Shmoreha me'at sheyesh li, al ha'or ve'al ha'tov, al ha'pri shelo hivshilot ve'anesav, al kol eileh, al kol eileh, shmona li hatov, al hadvash ve'al haoketz, al hamar ve'hamatov, al nakol hakol natuha. Al tishkach et hatikva, hashiveni ve'ashluha el haaretz hatova. We're doing an abbreviated version just so we can get through a bunch of other songs that I know you guys like. Is Shir Shalom next?
You want to take that one? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do Shir Shalom.
Okay.
And then we can do Hallelujah, which is really fun. Hallelujah.
Okay.
Then I thought we could do Eli, Eli.
Okay.
And then there are a few others that if you guys want to do, we can do as well.
All right.
So here's Shir LaShalom. And I wish we were in person because it's hard. You know, we can sing together, but it's hard. So I know this is a bit difficult, but thank you for joining with me, however you're joining. תנו לשמש לעלות, לבוקר להאיר, חזקה שבתפילות, אותנו לא תפסיק. מי אשר קבע נרו, וביחד נאמן, וכי נאמר לא יאירו, לא יחזירו לך. איש אותנו לא ישיב, מבור תחתית תפר, כאן לא יועילו לו שמחת הניצחון, ולא שירי הלל. לכן רק שירו, שיר השלום, אל תהיה חשודים לה. לכן רק שירו, שיר השלום, בצעקה גדולה. לשמש לחדור, בגלל לפרחים. Sorry, last one. אל תביטו לאחור, הניחו לחוטים. שאו עיניים ותקווה, לא דרך כוונות. שירו שיר לאהבה, ולעולם יחברות. אל תגידו יום יבוא, הביאו את היום, כי לא חלום הוא בכל הכיכרות, הריעו רק שלום. לכן רק שירו, שיר השלום, תצליח חשודים לה. שירו, שיר השלום, בצעקה גדולה. שירו, שיר השלום, צלע שתילה. שירו, שיר השלום, בצעקה גדולה.
Okay, very good. I'm just hoping we don't have all the people who are trying to get in because I locked the meeting. You know, today I got a warning about Zoom bombing of synagogue groups. And I said, well, nobody's come on board yet. I guess there's always a first time.
There's always a first time. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
We're going to do password and waiting room. So if I have a waiting room, I may not even do a password if I have the waiting room, so I know who's knocking at the door and I can let them in one by one. And I think that may just be an easier solution. We'll try it.
Because when it says White Obama, that probably is a sign.
Yeah, it was. They were all
right.
I mean, it was kind of stupid of them to like make themselves so obvious in a way.
Oh no, it's either this gang or that gang or this country or that country.
Yeah, it wasn't even like directed toward Jews either, though. That's the thing. I'm sure that people, all sorts of Zoom gatherings are being Zoom bombed. You know, like it's on Facebook.
I think it's just messing around. Nothing else to do in their lives. Okay, we got better things in our lives. We can
so you want me to do Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Le'olam?
Kovio Shrat.
There you go. Hallelujah. Yeah, so the lyrics, I had to look for all, I wanted to make sure I gave credit to the artists.
Kovio Shrat's daughter, they're leaving. She's the music director for Rabbi Barron's congregation, the one on Wilshire Boulevard.
Oh.
The artist congregation. Farber.
That's interesting.
Farber. Sharon Farber. You would have had a good time knowing her. Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
This one's fun. Hallelujah.
La
Olam.
Hallelujah. Yashir Kulam. במילת מודדה, הלב מלא בהמון תודה, והלב הוא איזה עולם נפלא. הללויה, אישי, הללויה,
Yom Shemeir.
Hallelujah, Amashaya, Umashaya, Hallelujah, 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 Yashir Kula, Beha'im Balim Ha'adolim, Yatedu Be'avon Zili, Veitanu En Yomru, Hallelujah, 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 Amachar Be'etmol, Hallelujah, Uyad B'yad, Beshiru Milevecha, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Uyad B'yad, Beshiru Milevecha,
Hey. Okay. Next choice.
Okay. Now Luya, he's a little bit slower. Eli is a little bit slower. Do you want to hear either of those? Or the option is to go, or we could do, let me see here. Do I have Bashana Haba? I should have that on here. What do you guys want? Do you have any requests? I have a few more, like, not on the, you want to do Erev Shishal Shanim? Okay.
There we go.
Cool. Very good. That's a beautiful one. Except tonight should be Erev Shel Gvinot. Gvina is cheese. Okay, here we go. Erev Shel Shoshani, Mitzena El Habustan, Mor Besamim Ulevona, Leragelech Mikta, Laila Yoreach, Beruach Shoshano Shva, Chava El Chashloch Shir Balad, Zemer Shel Ahava, Shachar Chumayona, Roshech Malet Lalim, Pichel HaBoker Shoshana, Etefenu Li, Laila Yoreach, Beruach Shoshano Shva, Chava El Chashloch Shir Balad, Zemer Shel Ahava, Zemer Shel Ahava, Zemer Shel Ahava. That was a beautiful one. I haven't sung that in a long time. That was really beautiful.
That's a beautiful.
Another one?
Anything
You want
for
Eli?
Shavuot that you know?
Yeah, although Haftidah, Mayim,
And we don't have to do all of them. It's totally up to you what you guys are feeling. We could do
Is
Habanekira
there
at the
anything
end. And
special for Shavuot?
you know, I don't have any for Shavuot. I don't know that many.
There are not many good Shavuot songs. They're mostly children's songs.
Right, yeah.
It's an empty holiday from a song point of view.
Yeah, there was a concert that was last Sunday that was being held that was for a book that actually I have a piece in, but it's not. Some people wrote Shavuot music, so you know what? I should go check back and look at that and learn some Shavuot songs. So it's an interesting holiday. But tell me if there's anything else you want me to sing, or we can.
Luya, he is very pretty.
You want to do Luyahi?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a very.
And we gotta do at least either well, maybe at the end we'll do Hatikva, like at the end of the program.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, let's do Luyahi, and maybe after that Ani Ve'ata, because I think it has good messages for right now. Ani Ve'ata. So let me do Luyahi first. I only do 2 verses, like I think maybe 3, just because otherwise it's a little bit long. I think I want to do a little bit higher though. Seems low. Oh wait, actually maybe not. Never mind, I start high. כל שנבקש לו יהי. ואם בחלונות הערב עוד נרות החברות, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי, לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. You know what? I'm going to put it a little bit higher for the next part. It's a little bit low. מה כל הנות אני שומע, כל שופר וכל תופים, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לא תשמע בתוך כל אלה, גם תפילה אחת מפי, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. Yeah, that was a little bit low. That was a little better for my voice. And you want me to do Eli Eli?
Let's go ahead. Eli Eli.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Here
one.
we go. Yeah. Hamashenish. Never disappear.
This one I tell myself to do it on capo 5, apparently. So I'm going to listen to my notes I have here. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam, achol ve'hayam, rish rush shel hamayim, ara hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam, achol ve'hayam, rish rush shel hamayim, ve'rak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam. English. My God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rust of the water, the lightning of the sky, the prayer of the man, the rust and the sea, the rush of the water, the lightning of the sky, the prayer of the man. Or one. Either one.
Bravo.
There's
Lovely.
different translations for this song. One says the rush of the water, one says, or the crash of the water, one says the prayer of the heart. I think there might be a different for the lightning of the sky. So it's interesting how there are different
what they
translations.
skipped the prayer of the heart. That's in the Hebrew. Barak Hashamayim. Oh, but they have prayer of the man. But Rishush Hamayim. Yeah, rush sounds like Rishrush, so maybe that's why they use it.
Yeah,
in some of the
right.
translations.
And
Close
literally
to
it says
sound.
Tfilat Ha'adam, so it would be the prayer of the man.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, it's generic, meaning women too.
People, yeah.
Yes, people
That's
in
it.
general, right? The prayer of the heart of the human.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
We'll figure
So
that
let
out.
me finish off with the Ani Ve'ata, unless you want.
Okay.
The other ones we could do are Chai Chai Chai, Tumbala Laika, Havanagila.
Let's find
Up to
where's
you.
Ani Vata. Let's find it. Ani Vata.
Yeah, let's do Ani Ve'ata. So Ani Ve'ata, I learned this actually when I learned a bunch of these songs when I was younger, but this one always was special. And the English.
Oh, there we go.
You got it?
Arik Einstein.
Sorry, I don't have the English translation, but it means you and I will change the world, and then everyone will join us. It's been sad before, but it doesn't matter. You and I will change the world. You and I will try to start from the beginning. It'll be tough, but so what? It doesn't matter. You and I will change the world. And this is written by Arik Einstein, and the music is Miki Gabrielov. And I just think it's really pertinent to what's going on right now, right? With this pandemic situation, and how we can help each other out, and we can help the world. And we may have to start from the beginning and reinvent ourselves and recreate, like what we're doing now on Zoom, right? But we'll do it together. And even though it's tough, we'll get through it. So I think this just has a really powerful message. Oh, sorry, hold on. Capo off. Ani ve'ato nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ato az yavo bar kulam. Amru et kotem lefanai lo mishane. Ani ve'ato nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ato nivase mechatala. Yeh lanu ra ein davar zelo nora. Amru et kotem lefanai lo mishane. Ani ve'ato nishane et ha'olam. Yai lai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la la la. Ya la la la. Yai la la la. Yai la la la. The way I actually learned this song was doing the lai-lais at the beginning and at the end. Forgot to do that. Some I think people teach it with the lai-lai-lais, and some people don't. So you want me to end with Tumbala Laika? I know that's a big hit for people.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And again, there's different
I don't think you have it in here, but
yeah, it's toward the end. It's toward the end.
Let's see.
Wait.
Tumbala Laika.
There it is.
Tumbala Laika.
And there's different translations for this as well. This is the one, again, that I learned when I was young. And so please join in, definitely sing along.
It's Yiddish.
It's Yiddish and then English, and then Yiddish. Yeah, it has its combinations. Yep. Steht der Boker und Tracht und Tracht der ganze Nacht. Bemen zu nehmen und nicht verschämen. Bemen zu nehmen und nicht verschämen. Tumbala, 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 laika. Tumbala, 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 laika. Maiden, maiden, can you explain what can grow without any rain? What can burn for many a year? And what can cry and shed not a tear? Tumbala, 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 shibila, tumbala, laika, shibila, laika, tumbala, laika, foolish boy, I can explain. A stone can grow without any rain. True love can burn for many a year. A sun can cry and shed not a tear. Tumbala, 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 laika, tumbala, tumbala, shibila, tumbala, laika, shibila, laika, tumbala, laika, so one more time. Tumbala, tumbala, laika, tumbala, tumbala, shibila, laika, tumbala, laika, shibila, laika, is it Zoin or Zain? Am I doing it wrong?
Zain.
Zain. I don't know why I want to say Zoin. Yeah.
That's it.
So I'll do Hatikva at the end.
There might have been some district somewhere where they said Zoin. Who knows?
I think I was taught to say Zoin for that.
Zain is to be. Yeah.
Joel, you probably know Joel Alexander. Do you know?
Zain.
Zain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
Zain.
All right. I just had a weird accent with it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Rabbi, you're up.
Okay. I want to thank you so much, Bryce. It was so lovely of you to join us.
Thank you.
Late into the night. Unfortunately, we're disrupted by these idiots. What can I tell you? The village idiot. There's always a village idiot somewhere. I want to take you on a little journey before I go into my text to go to 1951. Because when Israel was reestablished as a state, you know that it was secular and much more Marxist in its orientation. It's no longer secular in the sense that it is disconnected from its Jewish history, much more rooted. But in the beginning, the question was for the kibbutzim, for the kibbutz movement, how do I revive what was now to them something that had been long since forgotten? And since we're on the kibbutz and we're working the land, well, Shavuot is the festival of harvest. So how do we experience that? How to express it? This goes back to 1951, Kibbutz Gan Shmuel. I know the kibbutz very well. My roommate was from Gan Shmuel. I spent some time there back in, I don't want to say when, but not 1951, but far back enough. So I'm going to just skip through this explanation. There was a video made, one of the few made in color of the period. It was originally designed for American tourists, and then somebody did a Hebrew dub over, so you don't hear the English, but I will just run through it. Let's get it going. Is it going? There we go.
בראשית שנות ה-50.
Okay, we don't need the history of the kibbutz, or the history of Shavuot.
הדגה לתנובת הארץ.
But that wing was not from Gan Shmuel, I remember. That's from somewhere else.
משה
They go to raising sheep, which brings them to the
ישמח העדר על הגז.
then celebrating sharing the sheep.
בחגיגות הגז מפזזים רקדני ענבל לקצב התוף ומנגינת החליל ומלווים בשמחה ובריקודים את הכבשה המחכה לגז צמרה. ריקודי הנוקדים עובדו על ידי שרה לוי תנאי, מייסדת להקת ענבל. ריקודים ששילבו צעד תימני במחול הישראלי המתחדש.
Okay, and then I was working out in the harvest and
תא
crops,
מנהגים.
and then they create a procession of the children, and this is still a kibbutz custom, this procession goes on until today, where people march
ילדינו הקטנים הוסיפו למינים עגבניות, צנון ומלפפונים. שמחת בכל הטוב אשר נתן אלוהיך לך ולביתך, אתה והלוי והגר אשר בקרבך.
Just the modern one, we're moving ahead 70 years to this one, and the way that the kibbutzim today are doing the same thing. But notice, you don't have the guy that will lead them. The guy that you Okay, so we had a little flavor of okay, so I'm going to close that down. And we'll just take a little time for a little bit of Torah study, because it's not Shavuot without it. And put us all back on the screen so we can all see. Okay, we still have our group here, a little hardcore loyalists. I'm glad for that. There's so many texts that are centered around Shavuot. Now, the Bible itself does not know that the Torah was given at Shavuot. It tells us when we left Egypt. It tells us how long it took to march to Sinai. It gives a timeline, but it doesn't connect Shavuot festival with the giving of the Torah. So the rabbis later do the arithmetic and they say, well, if I count from the second day of Pesach, 7 weeks, boom, and I count the days marching from Egypt, the Red Sea, till they get to Har Sinai, whoop, it has to be on the 5th of Sivan. Where we're counting, we don't have a date intentionally. We want to use the counting of the Exodus to tie it in. Well, what was original there was the harvest festival, was the Bikurim, the first offerings, the wheat harvest, as you can see, and the beginning of the summer produce, end of the spring, the beginning of the summer produce that just become ripe. Later on, we'll have Sukkot, which is the fall, the end of the summer harvest and the beginning of the fall. So the rabbis use this as an opportunity for education, always. And so the connection of Shavuot with Matan Torah, with the giving of the Torah. That now gives us a very good thread, because we are told that the Exodus is tied, that Passover ties in with Pesach, with the Exodus, as well as with the first harvest. And then we have Sukkot, the end of 7 months, which we are told very clearly ties in with the wanderings in the desert. But what's missing in between is the great event of Sinai. So the rabbi said, boom, obvious that Shavuot is Sinai. So then they asked the question, beautiful story here. Children of Israel gathered at Mount Sinai. This is what they're told. They position themselves the word tachtit means the base of the mountain. For rabbis, that's not interesting. I have to find something interesting. Well, what's the word? Tachtit. Tachtit, under something. Oh, now it's more interesting. They stand under the mountain rather than at the base of the mountain. Isn't that more interesting? Now, why would they stand under the mountain? Aha, now I have a story to tell you, right? Amar Rav Avdimi Bachama. So Rav Avdimi Bachama Bachasa says, Milamed, we therefore learn Shekafa HaKadosh Baruch Hu Alehem et Har Kegigit, that he took the mountain and he held it over them like he translates it like a tub, right? A big, big tub. The mountain is now hanging, suspended over them. And says to them, if you accept the Torah, very nice, wonderful, imlav, sham tehekratchem, this is your grave. Boom. That's not much of a choice, is it? Wait a minute. I thought we were told that when the Jews were offered the Torah, they said, so good, 10 commandments, give us more, we take 613. Or Moses brought down one tablet, he says, give me 2 tablets, right? We were excited. No, we weren't excited. Who wants laws? Who wants regulations? Nobody does. And so we have a whole series of drashot from the rabbis. God goes to the Romans, he goes to the Egyptians, he goes to the Ishmaelites, he goes to each one, and each one has a complaint. I don't like this clause. I don't like you shall not take your neighbor's wife. I don't like you shall not rob. I don't like you shall not kill. I don't like this and this. Nobody wanted it. That's why he was frustrated and had to threaten the children of Israel, because there was nobody else. And why so? Because if nobody accepts the Torah, Rabbi said, there's no purpose to existence. Right? The function of the Torah is to lead a person to God. If nobody's going to come to God, there's no universe. And so it was very important. So he had no choice. It wasn't. So now they follow up. And they say, well, says Rav Acha, another rabbi says, if that's the case, that God forced the Jews to take it, well, then that's under duress. And is a contract that's signed under duress a valid contract? No. Therefore, Jews could still do what they wanted to do because they were forced to sign this contract. It was not of free will. So since when are Jews obliged to follow Jewish law? If we were forced to do it, we had to have accepted it. And he says, well, Rava says, in the time of Achashverosh, finally the Jews at that time, when they realized how they had gone through all that they had gone, from the exile and the destruction of the temple, and now they were settled in Persia, and they were given instructions they could go back to the land of Israel, and all of a sudden this Haman comes, and they're saved from Haman. Now they're happy, finally. And so the wording is, Kimu v'kiblu hayudim, the Jews accepted, observed, and accepted. What do you mean observed and accepted? They accepted finally what they had received then by coercion. In other words, that was when we finally learned our lesson, that finally we were ready to accept the Torah, right? So that being said, now we're liable for what we are doing. Now I'm just going to run ahead. And this is a beautiful one, and we're going to wrap it up with this. I'm going to skip through some of the elements, but it's a very beautiful commentary on what do we mean by the concept of Torah. And when I say 10 commandments, 613 commandments, where do we get this number from? What is it for? And so there's it's actually a long thread in the Talmud in Second Makkot, which is basically a sermon from a Rabbi Simlai, Darash Rabbi Simlai. Rabbi Simlai is giving a sermon. It says, Sheshmot 13 mitzvot, nemru lo leMoshe. 613 commandments were taught to Moses, right? We use the word taryag mitzvot. We bridge the numbers, give each letter a number equivalent, and we get the letter taf, resh, yud, gimel, taryag. Where does this come from? How do we get this number? Nobody's ever succeeded in counting the numbers correctly. Truth is that everybody is from antiquity who tried to count what are the mitzvot came up with a different list of mitzvot. Maimonides has a list. Sefer Mitzvot Gedolot has a list. All these codes, none of them really agree. But they agree that that's a final number. How they get to it? Well, here's a beautiful commentary. 365 lav, negatives, don't do's, corresponding to the number of the days of the year, right? Every day of the year, there's something else you can't do, right? And then, Ramach Rav, 248 positive commandments to match the 248 body organs of the human body as was known in Talmudic times. The bones, the heart, the lungs, all those added up together, they come up with number 248. Ramach, Resh, Mem, Chet. So it is those two numbers together. You do the math, you get 613, right? All the days of the year, all the bones of your body, right? Comprehensive. And then the rabbis ask a question, another department say, well, how come there's more negative than positive? And it is that it's really easy to avoid doing things. It's hard to have to remember what you have to do. So there's less of what you have to do than what you avoid, right? It's actually easier. So now, how do we get to 613 still? It's got to be somewhere. Well, it says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe Marashaki lat Yaakov. You remember the song? Torah, 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 Torah. You learn the song, right? It's from Dvarim, the end of Dvarim. Moses commanded the Torah to us. Torah tziva lanu Moshe Marashaki lat Yaakov. This is our inheritance, the congregation of Jacob. And if you take the word Torah, Taf, Vav, Resh, Hey, you give each letter a number, you get, by Gematria, Jewish numbers game, the word Torah, 611. Wait a minute. We're talking about 613. We're missing two. Where are the other two? Well, the other two, those 611, Torah, Tzivalam and Moshe. Moses taught us Torah. God taught us the key thing, which was, I am the Lord your God, and you shall have no other gods. In other words, the only thing that God actually said was the first two statements of the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord your God, you have no other gods. In fact, some rabbis said, well, really, he's only had to say one thing, because once you know there's your God, there is no other God. It's exclusive. Finished. And then some Hasidic rabbis said the only thing that God said was the letter Aleph. And what is the sound of the letter Aleph? No sound. So no sound was uttered. It is the human experience understood what didn't have to be said. But that's getting off to the side. We're going to this. Torah, Tziva Lanu Moshe. Moses, 611, God, 2. You add them together, you get 613. Wonderful. 613 commandments. Like all Jews, we should be very happy. We got 613. And now we have to, like all Jews, wait a minute. What's the 613? Right? Always. So the discussion continues. Minimal David. Right? Ba David emidan al chatasrei. Well, David came, he says 613 is too many. We're going to cut it down to 11. 11, right? It's in Psalms. It's a 16, Psalm 16. Right? Me, me go show. Who can dwell in your dwelling place? Only he who walks wholeheartedly, works righteous. Look at this. So you got wholehearted, righteous, truth, no slander, no evil, nor take reproach, despise the evil person, honors those who fear the Lord, takes an oath to his own detriment, changes not, neither gives money with interest, nor takes a bribe against the innocent. Right? Who performs these shall never be moved. Beautiful, beautiful. 11 basic moral rules. If we do these 11 moral rules, bal yimot le'olam, we can never collapse, not in this world and not in the next world. In other words, if we keep these 11 basic human decencies, we will never fail. And now, what do we mean by that? Give me examples, give me examples. So the Drash goes on and says, well, Olech Tamim, walk wholeheartedly, that's Abraham. Because if Abraham had said, Olech Tamim, he walked wholeheartedly in the presence of God. That's one. Poel Tzedek, who acts righteously? Well, there's an example of Rabbi Abba Hilkiah, who was a laborer. And if you're being paid by the hour, a righteous person does not stop the work for 1 second, because that is theft. The laborer is obliged to give the boss who's paying his full value. So Abba Hilkiah would not stop from his labor even to greet people. He continued working. Interesting story on the side. Well, what else? Dover Emed Bilvar. Who is it that speaks truth in his heart? Rav Safra. Here's a beautiful story. See, each one of these is a story by itself. The rabbis have this opportunity. Oh, now we're breaking it apart into sub-stories. Rav Safra. Well, a man came to him while he was reciting the Shema. He couldn't interrupt his recitation. Man wanted to buy something from him. He saw the man wasn't paying attention. He says, I'll pay you double, pay you triple. Rav Safra wouldn't answer. Finally, he finished saying the Shema, and he says, okay, I'll pay you the first thing I don't want the high money. No, I wasn't negotiating. But you offered is fine. That's it, right? Speak truth in his heart. Now, we see all these stories that keep on going. Lo Ragal Shano did not have slander on his tongue. Like Jacob, who, when he had to go into his father to get the blessings, said, oh my gosh, I will be a fraud in my father's eyes, right? Not to be fraudulent. Be very careful. Lo asal re'ehu ra, does not do evil to his neighbor. Oh, this one is very contemporary. Does not infringe on another's trade, illegal competition, trademark infringement, copyright infringement, opening a competing store right across the corner from the other guy when he's just barely making a living. Okay, there we go. All right, illegal competition. Herpalo nasal nafsho. He does not take reproach against his relatives. His relatives are not nice people. Maybe they're embarrassing to him. Maybe they're poor people. He's well-to-do. He doesn't distance himself from them. He draws them near. He tries to help pull them up. All right? Nivzeh ben Avnimas, one who despises the evil. That is King Hezekiah, whose father was a renegade. And so when he finished, Hezekiah led a rebellion against the pagan rule of his father. He dragged his father's corpse down the street. Not a very nice thing to do, but we have to make his position. And the example, others honors those who fear the Lord. And these are all sorts of, another midrash on Yehoshaphat, the king who would see a Torah scholar would rise and give him a hug and a kiss. My father, right? And so you can say, take an oath to my detriment and give not money with interest, even to a Gentile, right? Even the Jews that allow it. Nor take a bribe against the innocent, because you would not sit in judgment if you had any kind of questionable involvement. You have to recuse yourself. And they give this example. And so it goes on down. Now, what does it mean? Then I said there are only 11 things. So it said, he who performs these shall never be moved. When Rabban Gamliel, one of the great teachers, would reach this verse, he would cry, and he says, if one who performed all these should not be moved, but what if you only performed one of them? Maybe that's not enough, because I can't do all of them. I can't do all 11. It's too hard, humanly too hard. So his colleague said, no. It doesn't say who does all of them, it's who does them. So there's the same as with impurity. You're not impure because you have to be touched by everything impure. One thing impure is enough. Well, same thing with doing good. You do one thing good, it's good enough. So if you can do one decent thing to somebody, you have a place in the world to come. Lovely conclusion. Wait a minute. So now, 11 is too many. 11 is too many. Comes Rabbi Yeshayahu, the prophet, says there are really only 6 commandments. 6:13, 11, now 6. Right? What is it? He walks righteously, speaks uprightly, despises the gain of oppression, shakes his hand from holding a bribe, stops his ears from hearing blood, shuts his eyes from upon evil. But cut it all down. And they give examples like Avram Avinu as righteous and speaking upright, do not shame someone in public, despise the gain of oppression. You wouldn't sit in judgment in a case where someone has given him gifts because it would look improper, refusing bribes, stopping one's ear from hearing blood, refusing to hear disgrace or defamation of someone else, shutting your eyes against evil. And look at this, don't look at the women while they're doing the laundry in the river. All right? Don't give that as an excuse to peek. All right? Things like that. Okay. Well, so if you do any of these, he shall dwell on high. Right? That's what you get. Then you think that's enough. 6 is too many. No, 6 is too many. Comes Micah. It says there are 3. The 3. And this one is probably better known, which is Mato, Ma'ad and Nidoration of Hakim, Asot Mishpat, Avat Chesed, that's a very famous quotation. It's been told to a man, what is good, what the Lord requires of you, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. Right? 3 things, 3 principles. And then the rabbis give the explanation, do justly, doesn't this move up? Do justly, that is to do justice, to love mercy is to do acts of loving kindness, and to walk humbly is to do good things for other people without fanfare, without letting everybody know. They give the example, you have a poor bride, you set up the wedding, you don't announce to everybody that you're paying the bill. That's an example, that's ne'elechet, right? So that's walking up. Okay, 3 is too many. Comes Isaiah again. I'm negotiating with God. Now I got 3 is too many. I want 2. Says Isaiah, Shemru mishpat atzu tzedakah. Let's summarize it. Do justice, right? Justice, judgment, and do justice, righteousness. Okay, that sounds good. Wait a minute. 2 is too many. You're dealing with Jews. 2 is too many. 2 is too many. So we go down to 1. Give me 1. Ba'amos. Prophet Amos says, 1 thing. Yeshuni v'chu. Right? All you have to do is seek me, seek God, and live. And as a human being whose life is focused on seeking God is going to find life. Comes a Rabbi Nachman. No. Because the whole Torah is seeking God. That is too vague. No. This is a better one. Habakkuk said, Tzadik be'emunato yichya. The righteous person shall live by his faith. In other words, that by your reliance on God as your support, it will lead you to your life, righteousness, right? You're a righteous person in your actions. You rely on God. That is the source of life. It's very interesting because, as a verse, Martin Luther, when he established his Protestant Reformation, based his Protestant Reformation on the same sentence. But obviously he took it as a Christian would take it, faith in Jesus, right? Habakkuk had it, faith in God, right? So that same concept, though, interesting that he put it onto, or based it right on this one verse also. Right? So we've taken everything and we've distilled it down to 1.
Hello, Rachel.
Okay, so that's our Torah reading tonight.
Yeah, I'm still with the service.
Okay.
I'll call you when you finish.
Okay. All right. Okay. So those I wanted to wrap up with those. I don't have the strength to go through midnight. Some of you may, but I hope that you enjoy. I want to thank Bryce very, very much for
the performance.
for being with us.
Thank you, Bryce.
Thank you so
Okay, and
much.
a lovely voice, and those people in Orlando in the congregation are very, very lucky. Okay, and I was in Orlando once. It's a nice place. You got Disney, you got Universal. What else is there in Orlando? There's
I'll let you know.